Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast with Dan Casper.
Brandon Woodruff news yesterday, picking up the option. I was a little surprised by it. I was a little surprised that he did. I mean, that's a lot of money to say no to. So, but I do think part of it is, I mean, we might as well start there. So again, with the Brandon Woodruff signing, or with the Brandon Woodruff picking up his option, does it forecast? Does it give us a sign of what's to come for the rest of the season, off season for the Brewers? I don't know. I really don't. Because on one hand, I'm sure there's going to be some fans that are going to assume like, oh, all that money now, they're not going to be able to sign anybody. They're not going to be able to do anything else in free agency. I'm sure there's that thought. It's crossed my mind. On the other hand, there's probably some, and it's also crossed my mind too, where it's like, okay, if they're willing to do that, could they maybe push the chips in a little bit more and maybe spend a little bit more this offseason? I don't know. So that's one thing with this. I'm kind of curious to see how this move affects the rest of the offseason for the Brewers. Now, there is still the possibility that he could sign a multi-year extension, maybe a couple years, and lower that figure. And I don't know if it's just maybe me because that wants to believe this. I feel like that's still a really good possibility because, there's part of me, it's like, hey, man, Brewers took care of you, signed you to a 2-year deal when you weren't going to play that first year. You missed half the year. They stuck with you. Maybe you helped them out a little bit, but I completely understand somebody going for as much as they possibly can get, especially in a weird upcoming 2027 work stoppage. I can't fault anybody for trying to get as much as they possibly can. But I also think with Woodruff signing, or accepting, I should say, the qualifying offer, his agent went out there and gauged the market for Brandon Woodruff. He went out there, did a little digging, talked to some teams. Hey, what would you be willing to give my guy Brandon Woodruff? And it probably wasn't at the number that they were looking for, probably wasn't the number that they were hoping for or wanting. So you accept the qualifying offer, you're at least going to be guaranteed this. Could change, though, based off if they do agree to an extension, a couple years or such. It could change that way. But I think that also tells us, if anything, that maybe the market wasn't quite where they wanted it to be for him. He's not a young pitcher. He's not in his 20s. He's in his early 30s. Last chance, maybe he had a big payday. He missed out on that. Remember, he missed out on that opportunity with that shoulder injury a couple years ago. He was scheduled to be a free agent. So this is probably the last chance for him to get that big deal. But I don't fault him for wanting to get as much as possible. But there's still, and again, I don't know if it's just me hoping that happens. I still feel like there's going to be a little bit of an extension where that number is going to be lower. But, Woodruff, he's the first pitcher in Brewers history to get over $20 million. He's with Christian Yelich as the only two players over $20 million, make it over $20 million in a single season. Does it affect Freddy Peralta? I can see where a lot of people would think that because it's like, okay, now you give a lot of money to a veteran pitcher. Do we move on from Freddy Peralta, try to get something in return now? We got a veteran at the top of the order. We got some young guys we're going to hand the ball to. Very possible. I don't think that's off the table. Mark Anasio, Matt Arnold, both said separate cases, individual cases. I still feel like they're not actively shopping Freddy Peralta. But if there's a phone call, Matt Arnold will listen. He may not even counter, but he'll listen to see what they have to offer. And if there is an offer that's like, dang, we really can't bypass that, then maybe there is a conversation and maybe they're open to it. But it'd be like, yo, what up? That's what you're offering? All right, thanks. We're going to hold on to him. Could be something simple. Just listen. There's nothing wrong with just listening. Just listening doesn't mean you're actively shopping him. It doesn't mean that you're looking to move him. And I think that's still status quo or still what the Brewers and Matt Arnold are doing when it comes to Freddie. They open up the season with Freddie and Woodruff. They're happy as a clam. If they move him and they bring in a bunch of guys that they like, they're happy as a clam. It fits, and that's always going to be out there with Freddie in this offseason. It fits a pattern that the Brewers have done over the years with Burns and Williams. But remember, though, too, Burns was set to make almost double what Freddie's going to make this year. Freddie's making $8 million. That's nothing for the caliber of a pitcher that Freddy Peralta is. So that is a little bit different. But also remember, too, they could go the Willie Adames route, hold on to Freddy Peralta, play it out, and then maybe get a pick if he leaves. Maybe somehow you're able to re-sign him. I don't know. I kind of feel like they're going to, Freddy Peralta, if I had to pick one side, Freddy Peralta, I think, pitches for the Milwaukee Brewers in 2026. I feel like they're going to do that. And I feel like they're going to open up with a starting rotation of Freddie, with Woodruff, with The Miz, and then you've got two spots between Quinn Priester, Chad Patrick, Logan Henderson, Robert Gasser. You throw a little Tobias Myers in there. You got options. Maybe they find another veteran starter to throw in there as like that fifth starter. And then you kind of bookend it. And you throw maybe a combo start of Priester and somebody, and those other guys are like long relief guys coming out of the pen. The point is, with Woodruff back in the fold, assuming Freddy Peralta is going to be with the team, you've got options. You got a little bit more flexibility in terms of needs that you have to address in the offseason. If you didn't bring back Woodruff and you got Freddie, maybe you're looking for another veteran like they did with Jose Quintana. But as of right now, as things stand on November 19th, 2025, I would say starting pitcher is not their biggest need in the offseason. It's going to go find another bat, maybe an upgrade at shortstop. Ortiz is a fantastic defensive shortstop, but we need more offensive production. Maybe it's finding a third baseman where you move Durbin to second base and then Terang goes to shortstop. Maybe it's finding another platoon for first base. I've been on the Ryan O'Hearn bandwagon. I think he would be a great fit in Milwaukee. Platoon between DH, first base. He can even give you some outfield play. Maybe that's kind of your Jake Bauers replacement, but a little bit better of a version of a Jake Bauers. But with this, as of right now, and I know money is a thing when it comes to the Brewers and budgets and planning on who they're going to sign and all that. It gives them a little bit of flexibility in terms of the positions they have to address. Not flexibility in terms of money, but flexibility in terms of who maybe they can target, what positions they got to get better at. Because as of right now, honestly, I wouldn't mind if the Brewers tried Terang at short, and they did in spring training last year. And it looked like Terang was maybe going to be the starting shortstop until he had some shoulder fatigue. And I don't know if that's going to be a thing moving forward, but give it another go. Durbin at second, which is his more natural spot. Because I think you got to keep Durbin in that lineup. And if you can get a power guy to go play third, I think that's a win. With those questions, and the other question mark I would say with this offseason for the Brewers is, what's the plan at center field, Art? Is Garrett Mitchell going to be the guy? Can he stay healthy? You feel bad for the guy, but can he stay healthy? Corner ones are locked down. Cheerio and Frelick, good, gravy. Blake Perkins, great fourth outfielder. But is Garrett Mitchell going to be the guy? Can he stay healthy? That's the biggest unknown with him. But if we have an opening day lineup, and I know we got months yet till opening day, but if that opening day lineup is going to go something like, and the other side too, Contreras is going to get arbitration unless they agree to a another 1-year deal or something like that. He's going to get a little bump in pay too, so that factors into this. But if they have an opening day lineup of a Contreras, a Terang, Durbin, let's just say Andrew Vaughn right now at first, a newbie at third, that gives you a little bit of power. Cheerio, Frelick, Yelich at DH, and then Garrett Mitchell at center field. Freddy Peralta is your opening day starter. How do you feel about that lineup? I feel good, not knowing who that third baseman is, but assuming maybe it's a free agent signing that is a little bit of a power bat. Okay. See it play out.